Hello my dear students, I welcome you all in this online platform for the students of Life Sciences Botany for You. Myself Dr. Pitambar Humne, founder Botany for You and working as Associate Professor and Head Department of Botany, Dharampet MP Deo Memorial Science College Nagpur, Maharashtra, India. Today we are going to conduct sixth lecture in this lecture series on angiosperm taxonomy. And our today's topic is flower types and its modifications. In this lecture, we will cover these different topics, that is typical structure of flower, then types of flower based on presence and absence of the reproductive organs, position of ovary, and on the basis of symmetry of the flower. Then forms of the calyx, forms of the corolla, types of estivation, then cohesion and adhesion of stamen, fixation, cohesion and adhesion of carpels, and placentation. And you know very well, all these topics are very much important for exam point of view for the UG classes as well as PG. Even those who are interested in studying the angiosperm taxonomy, they will be also highly benefited through these lectures. If you see the angiosperm taxonomy, you will find that more than 70% of angiosperm taxonomy is based on reproductive characters, and hence from the inflorescence onwards, all these lectures and its terminology is very much important to describe any plant in angiosperm taxonomy, as well as these terms which we are learning in morphology of angiosperms through these different lectures, that will be helpful in identification of many plants with the help of flora, because without a terminology we can't do anything in angiosperm taxonomy. So let's start the actual content of the lecture. First of all, we will have to see the structure of flower, and this structure of flower usually as considered as a typical structure of flower. Even there is a question in UG classes on typical structure of the flower. If we see the flower, then we have seen in the lecture of stem, that is the third lecture of this lecture series, and we said flowers or the leaves or the fruits are always developed on the stem or axis. So first of all, we have to consider that if there is a development of the flower on any part of the plant body, then we have to consider that that part is nothing but the stem. If you see the flower, then it is classified into the different parts. That is, the stalk of the flower is known as pedicel. This pedicel may be present or may not be present in the flower, and on the basis of the presence and absence of the pedicel in the flower, they are classified into two categories. If the pedicel is present, then it is known as pedicellate, and if the pedicel is absent in the flower, then it is known as sessile flower. Even at the base of the flower, there is a presence of leaf-like or scale-like structure at the base of the flower. This leaf-like or scale-like structure which is present at the base of the flower, and that is known as bract. Even the bract may be present or may not be present in the flower. If bract is present, then the flower is known as bracteate, and if the bract is absent in the flower, then it is known as ebracteate flower. In addition to that, the similar type of the structure, that is scale-like or leaf-like structure, which is present on the stalk of the flower, and that is known as bracteole. Even the bracteole also may be present in the flower or may not be present in the flower, and on that basis again there are the two types, that is bracteolate and ebracteolate type of the flower. Then the terminal part of the pedicel, which is solen and on which there is a development of the different floral holes, that is known as thalamus, or it is also known as receptacle, or also known as torus. So, if we have to define the thalamus, receptacle or the torus, then simply we can say that the solen terminal part of the pedicel from which the different floral holes develops, that is known as thalamus or the torus or the receptacle. Now, the different floral holes which are developing from the flower, they are broadly classified into the two types. The first one is considered as a accessory hole and the second one is considered as a essential hole, and the floral holes are classified into these two categories. This accessory hole is made up of two floral holes, that is calyx, and second one is a corolla. In the similar manner, the essential hole is also made up of two different holes, and that is known as androecium and innermost one, that is a gynoecium. The calyx and corolla is known as accessory hole, or even it is known as supporting or supportive hole, because it is not involved in the sexual reproduction. And the androecium and gynoecium are known as essential hole because they are involved in the process of sexual reproduction. If we see the definition of the flower, then it is the condensed and modified shoot which is specially designed for the sexual reproduction. It indicates that the flowers which are developed in the angiosperm, they are the special structures which are evolved for the process of sexual reproduction. Even in the different plants, these different holes may be present or may not be present. In some plants, even the calyx may be absent or present, even the corolla may be absent, even the androecium may be absent, or even the gynoecium may be absent. So here, usually the individual member of the calyx is known as sepal. This indicates that, say for example, if we draw the calyx and individual part of the calyx, then we have to say that it is a sepal. So here now this becomes sepal, and this whole part is considered as a calyx. So you can understand what is the meaning of calyx and what is the sepal. Complete whorl is known as the calyx, and one of the member of that whorl is known as the sepal. In the similar manner, there are the presence of the petals in the flower as a second accessory whorl, and these petals are responsible for the formation of second whorl, and that is known as the corolla. Or in other words, we can say that the individual member of the corolla is known as the petal, or the corolla is made up of petals, one and the same thing. Then inside the corolla there are the presence of the two whorls. One is androecium and second one is a gynoecium. Now in flower, the androecium is present in the form of stamens and the gynoecium in the form of carpels. That is, the individual member of the androecium is known as stamen and the individual member of the gynoecium is known as carpel. And this both the wholes, that is androecium and the gynoecium, are essential for the sexual reproduction, and hence they are considered as a essential whorl. The calyx or the sepal may be free or may be fused, and on that basis the sepals are considered as the polysepalous if it is free and gamosepalous if it is fused. In the similar manner, even the petals are considered as a free petals and fused petal. If the petals are free, then it is known as polypetalous, and if the petals are fused, then it is known as gamopetalous. Even the stamens which are present in the flower, they may be fused with the members of same whorl or even the other whorl, as well as the gynoecium or the carpels which are present in the flower, they also may be free or the fused. So free stamens, that is known as polyandrous condition, and the fused stamen is known as synandrous condition, or even the syngenesious type of the condition that we will see in the topic of the androecium again. And if the carpels are free, then it is known as polycarpellary, and if they are fused, then it is known as syncarpous condition. So in this way we can describe the typical structure of the flower. But in some other plants like the hibiscus, that is China rose, Hibiscus rosa sinensis, in which we are seeing here this one, the extra structures or the whorl which is present outside the calyx. These petals are the corolla and then androecium and the gynoecium. So this extra whorl which is present outside the calyx, and that is known as epicalyx. So here such a type of the extra whorl is present in only few plants, while in other plants only there are the presence of calyx, corolla, androecium and the gynoecium. And as said earlier, one of the member or two member or even the three members of the whorl are even absent in some of the plants. So day by day, when we will have to see the different plants, the study of the different families from the monocotyledons and the dicotyledon, then we will see these different variations among the flowers of the different plants. Now we have to see the types of the flowers on the basis of presence and absence of the sex organs. Here, as the angiosperm flowers are specially designed for the sexual reproduction. Means here in the flower there is a presence of androecium and gynoecium. Just we have seen in a typical structure of the flower. An individual member of the androecium is known as stamen, and the individual member of the gynoecium is known as carpel. So, this stamen or the androecium is a male reproductive organ and the gynoecium is a female reproductive organ. Means if both are present in a flower, then the flower becomes bisexual. So, in this figure we are seeing here there is a presence of stamen, that is the androecium, and the carpel, that is the gynoecium. So, such a flowers in which there is a development of the androecium and gynoecium both, then such type of the flowers are known as bisexual flower, and this is sign for the bisexual one. But in some cases the androecium is completely absent, and in some cases the gynoecium is completely absent, or if they are present they are rudimentary or the reduced. So, in such cases if there is a development of only the stamen in the flower and absence of the gynoecium, or if the gynoecium is present it is rudimentary or reduced, then such a type of the flowers are known as staminate flowers or the male flowers. And the flowers which are responsible to develop only the carpels or the gynoecium and the androecium are completely absent, or if it is present it is rudimentary or reduced, then such a flowers are known as pistillate flowers or the female flowers. But in some cases, in some plants, in addition to the bisexual flowers, male flowers and female flower, there is a development of such a type of the flower, there is neither androecium nor the gynoecium, and such a type of flowers in which the androecium and the gynoecium both are absent, and they are known as the neutral flowers. Even the flowers are considered as a complete or the perfect flowers, or incomplete or the imperfect flowers. As we have seen in the flower, there are the different floral holes, that is calyx, then corolla, then androecium and gynoecium. So, if in a flower there is a presence of all these floral holes, then it is known as complete or perfect flower, and if one of the hole is found to be absent in the flower, then it is known as incomplete or imperfect flower. This type of the flowers is based upon the position of the ovary or the development of the different floral holes from a particular point with respect to the ovary, and they are again classified into three different types, that is hypogynous, perigynous and epigynous. As we know, the terminal swollen part of the pedicel is known as thalamus, which is the site for the development of different floral holes, that is calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. In such cases, if the calyx, then corolla and androecium, they develops from the base of the ovary, and ovary get topmost position, then such a type of the ovary is known as superior ovary, and the flower developing the superior ovary is known as hypogynous flower. The reverse is the case in case of the epigynous flower, in which we are seeing here this is the calyx, then corolla and androecium, and these three different floral holes are developing from above the ovary. Means the ovary is present below and it is inserted in the cup shaped thalamus. So such a type of the position of the ovary in which the floral holes are developing from above, then this ovary is known as inferior ovary, and the flower bearing the inferior ovary is known as epigynous flower. If the condition is neither hypogynous nor the epigynous, then it becomes the middle, that is a perigynous type of the condition. In this figure B and the C, we are seeing here the development of the calyx, corolla and androecium. They are neither developing from the base of the ovary and not from the above, and hence we can say that one half of the ovary is present inside the thalamus. Such a type of the development of the floral holes from middle of the ovary, then the ovary is considered as half superior or half inferior on the basis of its position. And the flowers which bears such a type of the ovary which is known as half superior or half inferior, then that are known as perigynous type of the flowers. Then third type of the flowers on the basis of the symmetry, and they are known as actinomorphic, and second one is the zygomorphic. If we see this diagram or the picture of the actinomorphic flower and the zygomorphic flower, then you are able to see that here there is a one petal, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one and the sixth one. So if we have to see, this is the first plane, then this is the second plane and this is the third plane, through which we can divide this flower into the two equal parts. In addition to that, here there is a addition of some other planes also. So it becomes now the fourth plane, then here this becomes the fifth plane, and here again the sixth plane. So we can divide this flower through 6 different planes to make it into two equal parts. Such a type of the flower which can be divided into two equal parts by more than one plane, then the flower are known as actinomorphic flowers. And the actinomorphic flowers are also known as regular flowers. But if we see this second image, you will find that here the one petal is different. Then there are the presence of two lateral petals which are equal, and one again there is a petal to the another side. One is on the posterior anterior side and another one is the posterior side. So here this flower can be divided into two equal parts by only this plane, and other any plane is not possible to cut this flower into two equal parts. Such type of the flowers that can divided into two equal parts by only one plane are known as zygomorphic flowers, and the zygomorphic flowers are also known as irregular type of the flowers. So here are some of the examples which are given. Here there are the 1 petal, 2 petal and 3 petal, and such a type of the flowers are known as trimerous. This is again based upon the total number of individual members in each whorl. Here there are the 3 petals, and hence it is known as trimerous flower. Here there are the presence of the 4 petals, that is 1, 2, 3 and 4, hence it is known as the tetramerous flower. And there are the presence of 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 petals, and hence it is known as pentamerous flower. Means here the flowers here is known as trimerous, tetramerous and pentamerous, and that is based upon the individual members or number of members in each whorl. Here these are some of the examples of the zygomorphic flowers in which the petals are unequal. Now the accessory whorl that we have seen, that is the outermost whorl in the flower, that is the calyx. Now this calyx is made up of sepals, and in some flowers the sepals may be free or the sepal may be the fused. If the sepals are free, then it is known as polysepalous condition or polysepalous, and if they are fused, then it is gamosepalous. So if there are the fused sepals, then there is a formation of different shapes of the calyx, and these different shape of the calyx are known as forms of the calyx. In first one, that is figure A, here there are the free petals, that is polysepalous, free sepals, that is polysepalous condition. But from the B to the G, all the sepals which are present in these figures, they are examples of the gamosepalous condition. In this diagram, that is B, all the sepals which are present in it, they are responsible for the formation of tube, and hence it is known as tubular calyx. But in some cases, here there is a dilated tube in the middle, and again it becomes narrow to the apex, and such a type of the calyx shape which is formed after the fusion of sepals with each other, it is known as urceolate. Then here there is a formation of cup-like structure by the fusion of sepals, and hence it is known as cupulate. If it is bell shaped, then it is known as campanulate. If there is a formation of tulips, then it is known as bilabiate type of the calyx, and if there is a presence of spur at the end of the sepals, then such type of the sepal are known as spurred sepals. In the similar way, the individual member of the corolla is known as petal, means there are the presence of the petals which are responsible for the formation of the corolla. Even these petals may be free or petal may be the fuse. If there are the free petals, then it is known as polypetalous condition, and if there are free petals, then it is known as gamopetalous condition. After the fusion, again here there is a formation of different type of the shapes, and these shapes are known as forms of the corolla. Here, that is carinate type of the corolla. When the petal possess the killed or the two fused petal, then that type of the corolla is known as carinate type of the shape or the corolla. Usually, this carinate type of the corolla is present in a papilionaceous corolla. Such a papilionaceous corolla found in the family Papilionaceae, in which there is a presence of one outer petal, then middle two petals, and the innermost again the two petals. So that we will see in the next slide. Then presence of four petals and are arranged in a cross, then such a type of the petals or the arrangement is known as cruciform corolla, which is found in family Brassicaceae or the cruciferae. Here the petals are clawed. But if instead of the four there are the presence of 1, 2, 3, 4 and the 5 petals, and they are spreading in the form just like to that of the cross, then it is known as caryophyllaceous type of the corolla. Means here also there are the clawed petals, here also there are the clawed petals, but in cruciform there are the 4 petals, and in a caryophyllaceous there are the 5 petals. This is the difference. In rosaceous means there are the 5 or more petals which are free. Then formation of the petal just like to that of the rose flower, then the corolla is known as rosaceous type of the corolla. As seen in the form of the calyx, if it is bell shaped, then the corolla is known as campanulate corolla. If there is a formation of the tube-like structure, which is very common in the family Asteraceae, then such corolla is known as tubular corolla, in which all 5 petals fuse together and form the corolla tube. If the corolla fuse together and form a funnel shaped structure, then that type of the corolla is known as infundibuliform type of the corolla. The common example of this is Ipomea fistulosa. Then hypocrateriform corolla, which is known as salver shaped corolla, in which the corolla tube abruptly open and spread its lobes to the outside, and such a type of the corolla in which the flower or the corolla tube abruptly open, then it is known as hypocrateriform type of the corolla. In urceolate type of the corolla, here the shape of the corolla is just like to that of the feature in the insectivorous plants, then such a corolla is known as urceolate type of the corolla. In rotate corolla, there is a presence of narrow corolla tube, and the corolla lobes are spreading, and these spreading corolla are present in right angle to each other. Means this corolla tube and this spreading corolla lobes, they are present in the right angle. So such a type of the corolla is known as rotate type of the corolla. Then in family Asteraceae, at the basal region the corolla form the tube, and from the terminal end there is a formation of ligule. So as there is a development of the ligule at the end of the tube, hence it is known as the ligulate type of the corolla. In bilabiate or bilobed type of the corolla, in which the total number of petals which are present in the flower, they are present in 2 leaves, and hence it is known as bilabiate type of the corolla, which is usually found in the family Lamiaceae. And the personate or the mask type of the corolla, in which the corolla tube is dilated, but usually this mouth is closed, as this both the lips of the corolla, they are present close to each other. So such type of the corolla is known as personate type of the corolla. This is separately taken for the UG students, because most of time there is a question on the papilionaceous type of the corolla. If you see the papilionaceous type of the corolla, which is the characteristic feature of the family Papilionaceae, that is one of the legume family. So in this, the outermost one, that is known as standard, and this standard is also known as vexillum. Then this outermost petal is responsible to cover the 2 lateral petals, and these 2 lateral petals are known as wings. And inside these 2 wings, again there are the presence of the 2 small petals, and that is known as kill. But in papilionaceous corolla, these 2 petals which are known as the kill, they are fused with each other, and hence during the floral formula we are writing 1 plus 2 plus 2, that is this 2 in the bracket. Means this one is the standard petal, these 2 are the wings, and these 2 are the kill, and these 2 petals which are considered as a kill, they are fused with each other. And in Papilionaceae, almost or many times there are the presence of stamens, that is 9 stamens plus 1 stamen free. So here the 1 plus 9 condition of the stamen is present, though in some plants there is a presence of only the 9 stamens, and in some plants there is a presence of 5 plus 5 condition also. So that depend upon the type of the plant. But whenever we are talking about the papilionaceous type corolla, here there will be arrangement of the total number of petals, that is 5 in this manner, outermost 1, then inner 2, and the innermost 2 which are fused with each other. And this figure belongs to the plant, that is Erythrina christagalli. Then estivation. Usually students are making the mistakes in the estivation or in a practicals, because we are not reading the definition properly. If you see the definition of the estivation, then you will find that the mode of arrangement of the petals or the sepals in the flower in bud condition. Means what we are considering, that here either sepals or the petals, and what we have to see the arrangement of the sepals or arrangement of the petals, and when and where in the flower, and when the flower is in the form of bud condition. So this is important, because when the flower open, we will not be able to see the arrangement of the sepal or the petal in every flower. Some flower will show even after opening of the flower the correct estivation, but in many cases it is not possible to find out the correct estivation after the complete opening of the flower, and hence whenever we are practically observing the estivation, we have to see the flower buds to know the estivation of the sepals as well as the petals. Estivation is classified into the 5 different types, or there are 5 different types of the estivation. That is velvet, second one is the twisted, third one is the imbricate, then quincunxial and the vexillary. In velvet, here all the 5 petals that we are able to observe here, they are present side by side and no overlapping in between any petals. Such a type of the arrangement of the petals or the sepals is known as velvet type of the estivation. But if you see the second figure, that is, this one is the first, second, third, fourth and fifth one, and in every sepal or the petal, the one side is outer and another side is inner. So if in all the petals the one side is inner and another side is outer, then we can say that all the petals are alternate with each other, and such a type of the estivation in which all the petals alternate with each other, that is known as twisted type of the estivation. But in an imbricate, this petal is completely inner and this petal is completely outer, while this one is alternate, this one is also alternate and this one is also alternate, that is one side is present outside and another side is present inside. So such type of the condition in which the one petal is completely inner and the one petal is completely outer, then the estivation is known as imbricate. Here this is the first petal which is outer one, this is second petal which is outer one, this is first petal which is inner one, and this is second petal which is inner one. So we can say that here the 2 petals are completely outer and 2 petals are completely inner, and such type of the arrangement of the petals or the sepal is known as quincunxial type of the arrangement, in which this one petal is alternate, that is one side is to the outer side and another side is to the inside. The next one, that is the fifth one, that is a vexillary type of the estivation, and which is usually found in the papilionaceous type of the corolla. Just we have seen the papilionaceous type of the corolla, in which there is a presence of one petal, below or inside that single outer petal there are the presence of the 2 petals, that we have seen it is a wings, and then again there are the presence of innermost 2 petals, that is the gills. So such a type of the arrangement of the petals in the flower, that is one outermost enclosing the 2 petals and then the again 2 petals. So such a type of the arrangement is known as vexillary type of the estivation, and vexillary type of the estivation is found in the papilionaceous type of the corolla. Then androecium, that we have seen already, the androecium is made up of stamens and it is male reproductive organ of the flower. Earlier we have seen that there may be presence of free stamens or fused stamens. If free stamens, then it is known as polyandrous, and if they are fused, then it is known as synandrous type of the condition. Here few of the examples are taken. In first one, that is monadelphous condition. Mono means one, adelphous means the fusion. Means here the filaments of all the stamen fuse together to form the one bundle, and the anthers which are present on it, they are free. Here there will be presence of the anthers, and all the anthers are free. This can be best observed in the plant, that is Hibiscus rosa sinensis of the family Malvaceae. So such type of the arrangement of the stamens in which the anthers are free but filaments are fused to form the single bundle, then it is known as monadelphous type of the condition. And in a didelphous, that is di means the two, adelphous means the fusion, that is the fusion of filaments into the two bundles. Here there are the fusion of 9 stamen to form the one bundle, and this one stamen is separate. Or as earlier I have told you, there is a presence of 5 stamens plus 5 stamen. These 5 stamen form the one bundle, and these 5 stamen form the another bundle. So in both cases, here either 9 plus 1 condition or 5 plus 5 condition, it is known as didelphous condition, because the filaments fuse to form the two bundles are and anthers are free. But if there is a development of a fusion, and that fusion of the filament is responsible for the formation of more than two bundles, then it is known as polyadelphous type of the condition. Usually it is found in the Ciba pentandra. And the next one type of the fusion in which the anthers are free and filaments are fused. So here these anthers are fused. Keep in mind this one. Here we have seen anthers are free. Here filaments are free. Such type of the arrangement or the fusion of the stamens is known as syngenesis type of the condition, and it is very common in the family Asteraceae. Then next one is synandrous, in which here these are the anthers and these are the filaments. So the anthers and filaments both are fused. Such a type of the condition or the fusion of the stamen is known as synandrous type of the condition, and synandrous type of the condition is commonly found in the family Cucurbitaceae. Then the adhesion of the stamen means attachment of the stamen to the different whorl. That here in first one, it is considered that the free stamens, that the stamens are not fused with each other, that is a polyandrous condition. But when these stamens are fused to the corolla or the petals, then that type of the condition is known as epipetalous type of the condition. Means the stamens fused with the petal are known as epipetalous stamens, and these stamens which are fused with the perianth, they are known as epiphyllous type of the stamens. And the perianth means what? When there will not be the distinct difference in between the calyx and corolla, then it is known as the perianth. So usually such a flowers which are not responsible for the development of the two different whorl in the form of calyx and corolla, or we are not able to differentiate the calyx and corolla, then that type of the whorl is known as perianth. And if the stamens are attached to the perianth, then this such type of the stamens are known as epipetalous stamens. Here again the fixation, that is the another and the good one topic which is usually asked for the UG classes in the examination. Basically, when we have to see the normal books, we have these different types of the excavation. I have tried to provide the complete all 6 types in this lecture. Here, if you see, this one is anther, this one is filament, and this is the joint, and that is known as connective, that we have already studied in the lower classes. So, if the filament is attached to the anther at its base, then the fixation or this attachment of the anther to the filament is known as basifixed. But if this anther is attached to the filament by its dorsal side, then the fixation is known as dorsifixed. And here this both the anther lobes are attached to this filament by its lateral side, or they are attached to the filament laterally, and such a type of the attachment of the anthers to the filament is known as adnate type of the arrangement or adnate type of the fixation. But in many monocotyledons, here the anthers and filaments are loosely attached, and because of that these anthers can move freely. Such a type of the arrangement in which the anthers can move freely on the filament because of the loose attachment, then this type of the fixation is known as versatile type of the fixation. But in some cases or the some plants, both the anther lobes are away from each other, and because of that here the filament is bifurcate. Such a type of the attachment of the anther lobes separately on bifurcate type of the filament is known as divergent type of the fixation. Even in some cases, these different anther lobes, they are very much distracted from each other, and hence it is known as distractile type of the fixation. So these are the 6 different type of the fixation which are found in the different plants of the angiosperms. Then gynoecium, which is made up of the carpels, or the individual member of the gynoecium is known as carpel. Again, the carpel may be free or the carpel may be fused. If the carpels are free, then the condition is known as apocarpous condition, and if the carpels are fused, then the condition is known as syncarpous condition. Here In these figures, there is a bicarpellary condition, means this is the one carpel and this is the second carpel, and both these carpels are fused with each other. If we see the TS of the ovary, we see here there are the presence of two carpels. If there are the presence of three carpels, here 1, 2 and 3, means all three carpels fuse together forming the complete structure, and that is known as tricarpellary. If 4 carpels fuse together, then it is known as tetracarpellary, and if the 5 carpels fuse together, then it is known as the pentacarpellary. So the carpels may be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or even the more, and it may be free or it may be fused. On the basis of that, again there will the different types of the fruit that we will see in the lecture of fruit. Then again here there is a example of the apocarpous condition, that is the free carpels. Here the first one example is from the lotus, in which there is a presence of spongy type of the compound receptacle. This is compound receptacle on which there is a development of the male reproductive organ and female reproductive organ, that is androecium and gynoecium. So all these carpels which are present on this compound spongy receptacle, they are separated from each other, and hence it is known as apocarpous type of the condition. In Michelia champaca, that is chafa, again there are the presence of free carpels. If you see the fruit of the Michelia, then you will find that such a type of the fruit is developed, which is just like to that of the bunch of the grapes. So it indicates that the one fruit is developing from the one ovary, and hence here, as there are the presence of many free carpels, there is a development of the many fruits from the single pedicel. Again, in the rose, inside this cup there are the presence of many carpels, and all the carpels which are present inside this cup shaped thalamus or the receptacle, they are free from each other, and hence here in the rose also there is a presence of apocarpous type of the condition. And even in the sedum, on this common thalamus or the torus, there is a development of the carpels which are completely free from each other. Then in addition to this cohesion and adhesion in the gynoecium, here there are some different structures in the flowers. Here the stamens are raised some distance from the thalamus, and this structure, because of that the androeciums or the stamens are raised to the certain distance, and that is known as androphore. In the similar manner, if the female reproductive organ, that is ovary, is raised from the thalamus or the receptacle to a certain distance, then it is known as gynophore. So just we can say that if the androecium is raised above the receptacle, then it is known as the androphore, and if the gynoecium or the ovary is raised above the receptacle, then it is known as the gynophore. And in certain flowers like the Gynandropsis, here there is a presence of androphore and gynophore both in the same flower, and this type of the condition is known as gynandrophore. So in different plants, the different type of the arrangement of the androecium and gynoecium is present. The last topic of this lecture and that is placentation. The placentation can be defined as the mode of arrangement of the ovules or the mode of attachment of the ovules to the wall of the ovary is known as placentation. Means if we see the development of the ovules inside the ovary, they are attached to the ovary by means of a certain tissues, and that tissues are responsible to provide the food material to the developing ovules. That part is known as placenta, through which that ovules are attached to the ovary. So from where that placenta is developing from the wall of the ovary or inside the ovary, on that basis there are different types of the placentation. First one, that is marginal placentation. The best example that are the legume plants, that is Papilionaceae, Caesalpinaceae and Mimosaceae, in which these are the fruits which are developing from the monocarpellary ovary. In this, all the ovules inside the ovary, they are developing from one of the margin. Such a type of the development of the ovules or attachment of the ovules to the wall of the ovary at its marginal side, then the placentation is known as marginal. But if the ovules are attached to the peripheral region of the ovary, then the placentation is known as parietal type of the placentation. And parietal type of the placentation is found in Brassica. There is a order Parietales in which all the families or the plants or the species, they show the placentation, that is a parietal. The next one, that is the free central type of the placentation, in which the ovary is multicarpellary but it is unilocular, and the all ovules are developing from the central placenta. Such a type of the development of the ovules from the central placenta, and hence it is known as free central placentation. In some cases, the placenta develops from the base, just like to that of the family Asteraceae. So, if this placenta is developing from the base of the ovary, then it is known as the basal placentation. And in superficial placentation, here the ovules are neither developing from the center and nor developing from the margin or from the outer wall, but instead of that, here they are developing from the middle of the ovary, and such a type of the development of the ovules from the middle of the ovary or from the middle septum of the ovary, then this type of the placentation is known as superficial type of the placentation. In addition to this, in some cases, the ovules are developing from the upper side, and such a type of the placenta which is present at the apical region of the ovary, then it is known as pendulous type of the placentation. So in this way, today we have finished the different characters of the flower, which are very much important in description of any plant, as well as the different topics which are covered in this lecture are important for the exam point of view for the UG and PG student of plant sciences. And I am very much confident this lecture will be very much helpful to you all in your studies. So thank you very much for your patiently listening of this complete lecture in this lecture series on angiosperm taxonomy. Kindly like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel and also press bell icon for the alerts of every lecture to be uploaded on Life Science Titles. Thanks a lot once again.